Well, as Gary Kubiak famously said, we are fixin' to find out, and we're fixin' to find out quite a bit this week, Broncos country. Who is going to be the next quarterback of the Denver Broncos? What are our uniforms going to look like? What's the future of Courtland Sutton, of Patrick Surtain, and so much more? If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben. I break down all things Denver sports. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan. It has been an absolute pleasure riding with you from Halloween till now, and here we are, draft week. We have a new uniform reveal tomorrow. We're going to take a look at some of the rumors about that, the latest draft rumors, that, and a massive rumor about a trade involving the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Chargers. So let's dive right on in. We did a really cool, fun live event last night. We broke down the most accurate NFL mock drafter over the past 5 years out of the San Diego Union Tribune. He's the most accurate on average over the past 5 years, and he has the Denver Broncos selecting Bo Nix at 12. I think whether it's at 12 or whether it is a trade back later in the draft, I tend to agree with him. I think the Denver Broncos will end up with Bo Nix in this draft. I think the huge wild card is if JJ McCarthy falls down the board and he's available at 8, 9, 10, I think the Broncos make the move. I do not think they're going to be willing to trade up into the top 4, but that's why we're so excited about Thursday night, because we will be streaming it all live here and breaking it down with all of you. So the big rumor is that we know that it's the Vikings who've been rumored to have loved JJ McCarthy as much as the Broncos do. And there have been talks that the Vikings might be trading up, trying to get to that 3rd pick with the Patriots to select him, or that 4th pick trading with the Cardinals. That's why they got that additional first-round draft pick to move into that. But yesterday on our live draft, we broke down how much does Jim Harbaugh actually love JJ McCarthy? Does he love him enough that he would indeed rebuild that Chargers franchise with JJ? He already moved on from Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams. Harbaugh is trying to completely rebuild the Chargers, and they need to be rebuilt. They have a lot of dead cap. They have a lot of salary cap going to older veterans, and he's going to remake that team. So I said, is all the stuff that he's been saying, Jim Harbaugh, about how much he loves JJ McCarthy, is all that just like a smoke screen or just trying to have some clout there, or does he really love JJ enough to try to get him? He has that pick at 5. Everyone is saying that JJ will probably still be there at 5. Well, now, whether or not you believe this rumor, it'd be very interesting. Antonio Brown, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he now has his own network on ESPN, and he's had some crazy claims, said some stuff recently about Caitlin Clark that's just what are you even talking about, man? But recently he came out and said that he has heard that the Vikings and the Chargers are close to a blockbuster deal that would send Herbert to the Vikings. The Vikings would be thrilled with that, for a bunch of first-round draft picks, and then Harbaugh can get the quarterback of the future there. So the rumored trade here would include 3 first-round draft picks for JJ McCarthy, and I think Harbaugh probably knows this draft class better than anyone else in the league right now. He's played against most of these dudes, and so if he says, hey, I can get JJ, who I already know runs the offense I like, and then I'm also getting 3 other stabs at top talent of guys I've played in this league, that could be extremely interesting. The other Antonio Brown rumor that has come out is he also has tweeted out images of the Broncos' rumored helmets, at least one of them. We've heard a lot about triangles being incorporated to represent mountains, and so here is the rumored Broncos helmet. Curious what all y'all think of it. I think it actually looks kind of sweet, and there's been some hate going around about the triangle and a bunch of stuff on Twitter about triangle and Illuminati and DIA and all that stuff, but curious to see how you all are feeling about this helmet and if that's going to be it. And for all the hate from Antonio Brown, also put out still images of hand-drawn pictures of the uniform with Champ Bailey 24, and it looked kind of lame, hand-drawn like that. And I would just urge all of us to wait till we actually see it on a player till we make the evaluation. So even though it looked kind of lame on the hand-drawn thing, when you actually see it on one of our players, like here's a mock-up that I found on Reddit, that's actually pretty sweet to see the texture on the 14 and the numbers there. And I love how the mountains look on the sleeve there. So even though it looked really lame in those hand-drawn pictures on Antonio Brown's Twitter, I think it actually could end up still being really sweet. I think tomorrow's draft or tomorrow's uniform reveal is going to be incredibly telling, because whoever the Broncos choose to have pictured in the uniform reveal is going to be extremely telling as to like the long-term viability of that person being on our team. Like, obviously you can't have Justin Simmons modeling it. He's not here. You can't have Russell Wilson. Pat Surtain has been rumored in a ton of trades of like, hey, if the Broncos are going to move up for their dude, they might have to include Pat Surtain. And then we know that Courtland Sutton might be holding out. And so if he's in there, I think if Pat Surtain or Courtland Sutton are modeling our new uniforms tomorrow, I think that's probably a pretty good sign that they're going to be here to stay. If you take a look at like the Lions, when they did their reveal, it was Hutchinson, it was Jared Goff. Like, it's their like identity players for the Lions. If you look at the Jets, they revealed it with Aaron Rodgers, with their corner who's not as good as Pat Surtain. And so I think who the Broncos choose to put in those uniforms when it gets tweeted out and shared tomorrow will show, are they here for the long term? The Denver Broncos reportedly are getting a ton of offers and a ton of calls about Courtland Sutton. We've seen that while there are a ton of wideouts in this draft that are good and have a high upside, there are teams who need a wideout and need a solution now, and Courtland Sutton certainly is better than, I broke down in a previous video why I think he's better than Calvin Ridley, why I think he's better than Jerry Jeudy for sure. And so our team's throwing out pick options for Courtland Sutton, and it sounds like the Broncos have gotten a bunch of calls for him, but are not planning on trading him now. I think tomorrow, if we see him in our new jerseys, that is probably a good sign that he is going to be here to stay. And I also am really looking forward to hopefully seeing those new jerseys revealed with a number 2 wearing them, because I also would love to not see Patrick Surtain moving on. I would much rather, if we're trading up for a top quarterback, I would much rather trade draft picks than trade our star cornerback. We got the dude. Let's keep the dude. So very excited to just get through this week. I keep checking my watch. Like, is it Thursday? I hope you all are going to ride with me right here live for the draft. I'm going to have my buddy who watches more college football than anyone I know back with me, Paul. Then we got a friend at the draft who's going to be calling in and hopefully sending us some video of the future Bronco walking the stage. And then we have a couple other special guests and cannot wait for that. So make sure you are liked and subscribed so you don't miss a single second of that. Let me know, who do you want the Broncos to pick at 12? Do you think there's any chance that Herbert is traded and that McCarthy is actually the new Chargers quarterback? Or is that just crazy Antonio Brown? So thank you for riding with me. Broncos Country, let's giddy up.